I'll have my coffee in the living room this morning.
Mrs. Wheeler, aren't you going to have some breakfast?
Oh, I haven't time. So much I have to do before I catch that plane.
You shouldn't try to pack on an empty stomach.
Oh, the packing's been taken care of for days. It's all the goodbyes I'm worried about.
I just can't believe you're
leaving.
leaving.
It's going to be a very full day.
Well, I think it's wonderful about the television program.
Yes. For Vicki Bellman to devote an entire half-hour special to me.
And Mr. Wheeler says there are going to be all kinds of tributes and testimonials.
Well, it's because of the foundation. Everyone realizes how important the Alex Wheeler Foundation can be, so they're going out of their way to help it succeed.
Yeah, but even so, there are going to be a lot of people here in Houston who are going to miss you.
Yes, and I'll miss them. Vivi, I need my coffee.
Oh, yeah, right away, Mr. Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, I'm going to bring you some rolls and coffee, too.
No, don't bother, Vivian. I don't have time.
What is it with this family this morning?
Vivian, I'll be back here in a little while. Take Mrs. Wheeler to the station. You can feed me then.
Grant, you've been on the phone all morning.
Yeah, long distance.
Is there some sort of an emergency?
About 3 of them. That's the nature of the oil business.
You shouldn't try to shoulder all of the responsibility yourself. That's the mistake Alex made.
Oh, don't worry about that, Iris. I can delegate responsibility. The problem is I just don't have a second in command.
Well, I hope Lacey can persuade your son Mark to assume the presidency of World Oil.
So do I. I need him. I may have to exercise a little parental pressure.
Oh, for God's sake, don't do that. Offer Mark the opportunity, but let him come to you of his own accord. Don't make the same mistake with him that I made with Dennis.
Oh, I won't do that. I promise you. Besides, I'm not so sure that I could force his hand anyway. I suppose you've recognized that my 3 children do exercise a certain amount of independence.
I know Lacey has a mind of her own.
What about Brett?
I think she's magnificent. She's what I might have been, only I'd had her spirit and sense of freedom. Don't ever try to rein her in.
I don't think I could. And incidentally, speaking of spirit, I'm going to miss yours an awful lot. You're leaving me with a vacuum that nobody's going to be able to fill.
Oh, it'll be filled. I think you're going to be surprised. Someone's going to fill it, more than fill it. It's beginning to happen right now. I know. I've been watching.
Iris, will you speak sense? I know that I'm in the oil business right now, but way deep down, I'm really nothing but a banker. Now, I can evaluate a business risk, or I can compound interest in my head, but the one thing I can't do is handle a riddle.
You'd best forget you ever were a banker. The oil business is much more rough and tumble.
Hold this.
Grant?
Wheeler residence. Hello? I'm sorry, I can't understand you. Oh, it's for you. It's a conference call from Venezuela.
I'll take it upstairs to my study.
Vivian, we have to talk.
Where's Mrs. Wheeler?
Upstairs, but that's all right.
Is it?
Yes, it gives me a chance to talk to you alone. Come over here and sit down, please.
Vivian, I can't. I've got to go to the office.
I know, and that's one of the things I want to talk to you about. This won't take long, and it's very important.
Very well, Vivian. Now, what is it that is so important?
You don't eat properly, and you work too hard.
Oh,
now,
Vivian.
hear me out, Mr. Wheeler, please. Mrs. Wheeler worries about you a great deal, and so do I.
Well, there's no need for that.
Oh, yes, there is. And as long as Mrs. Wheeler was here, she did a fine job of looking after you, but she's leaving now. And what you're going to need in this house is a woman to take care of you.
I've got 2 daughters.
Oh, daughters don't count. They have other interests. They're never in the house much, and they're much too young.
I hope Brett never hears you say that.
What you need is a woman with experience in taking care of people. A woman like me.
Ah. I see you're taking me up on my offer.
Well, Mrs. Wheeler has asked me to stay on here after she goes, and you've asked me to stay, too. See, at first I thought no, because Mrs. Wheeler and I have been together for a very long time, and it just didn't seem right for me to let her go to New York without me. But I don't want to live in New York, and she knows that. And she's probably going to be staying in a lot of hotels, and they've got maids. So
you've decided against New York?
Right. And then I thought I might go back to Bay City. But then 2 weeks ago, I got a letter from my ex-boyfriend, Rudy. And would you believe that he's now engaged to be married to some girl that he met on a bus?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Vivian.
That's all right. At least I found out in time.
Well, there is that. Well, have you made any plans?
Well, I'd like to take you up on your offer to stay here. I know Mrs. Wheeler would like me to do that.
That's what I want.
And I like River Oaks. Living here reminds me a lot of living where I grew up on the farm. But the thing of it is, I don't want you to think for a minute that I'm staying here and making this decision because I haven't any choice.
Oh, Vivian, I would never think that.
Oh, good, because I think that we really suit each other. I've got just the kind of experience that you need. I'm glad that's settled. You got yourself a housekeeper, Mr. Wheeler.
Well, thank you, Vivian, for letting me know.
Sure.
Yes? Who? Well, of course I'll see Mrs. Bellman. Send her right in.
TJ, am I welcome in the enemy camp?
Of course you are. I am surprised to see you, though.
Well, my real business is with Justin, but I thought as long as I was here, I'd stop by and see you first.
I would have called. I've simply been too busy.
Well, you certainly got set up rather quickly. Doesn't look like this was a spur-of-the-moment defection.
It's not a defection, Vicky. It's merely a change of loyalties.
I think you're splitting hairs.
I made a quick decision.
Stryker is very upset.
I did what I had to do. Grant forced my hand.
By not giving you the presidency of World Oil?
Yes.
You disappoint me, TJ.
I'll have to live with that.
This kind of thing is never easy. I've always liked you.
Thank you, Vicky. I feel the same way about you. This was purely a business decision, nothing personal. I'll have better opportunities here at Marshall Oil.
Stryker turned down your request for a partnership. Is that a fact?
Yes. If I had gotten the partnership or the presidency of World Oil, I wouldn't be here now. But it's nobody's fault. It was purely a business decision. I hope they understand my feelings about it.
I understand. I'm going to miss you, though.
You sound like we can't be friends.
Stryker thought of you as a son, TJ. He's angry.
I'm sorry.
But I know deep down inside he wishes you success. And I think you're going to find it.
Thank you, Vicky.